The good, the bad, and the odd. They do go on.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're hosts Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so today we're doing a TV show. We don't often do TV shows, but we're doing one today, and it's The Mandalorian. Now, we would have put this... It's been a bit of a time since our last regular episode, and one of the reasons is we've been having some technical difficulties with Skype, really, but it seems all right now, fingers crossed, so we'll just see how we go. So, The Mandalorian, basically a space opera, Western opera thing, right? Created by Jon Favreau and released on Disney Plus. It was kind of their showpiece series, wasn't it, when they opened?
Yeah.
It's the first live-action series in the Star Wars franchise, set between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. There's some talk of Endor, isn't there? What happened at Endor?
Yeah.
It's like Endor's a thing that's known through the universe. And it follows a Mandalorian bounty hunter, which when this series first came about, it was touted it was going to be Boba Fett. This is not Boba Fett, that's for sure. No. But it was touted it was going to be. But basically, it's set in the sort of chaos that happened after the fall of the Empire and the rise of the New Republic. And there's obviously a lot of planets not really controlled by anyone. There's that kind of stuff. So Favreau was the sort of main creative force, as well as Dave Filoni and a few other people. So it premiered 12th of November 2019, 8 episodes. And the second series is already been ordered and will be starting to show on October 2020. So 11 months. So that's pretty cool. Let's not get into spoilers yet, but what's your overall feeling about this show?
I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, me too. I think this is a great show. Honestly, I think this might be in top 5 shows ever for me. That's how much I like it. It's a really great... It's some of the best Star Wars we've ever seen, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's how much I like it. And not a Jedi in sight.
Yeah.
Blasphemy for some. Anyway, yeah. So go watch it if you can. Go watch it as soon as you can. We're still waiting for Disney Plus in this country, so hopefully we'll be soon. I think I will be signing up to Disney Plus because of the other content. It's got some great content. So, and it's doing really well. Apparently, it's got as many sign-ups as Netflix already.
Wow.
No, that might not be true. Actually, what it was the stat I read was it's now got as many sign-ups as Netflix got in its first 5 years, which is not the same thing, is it? So it's a really accelerated thing. But you know, Netflix laid the ground for this kind of thing, didn't it? So, you know, it's going to be easier these days to get a big base if you've got decent content. So, Mandalorian, I don't know, is it worth explaining what Mandalorians are to people? Or should we kind of...
Well, see, it keeps changing, I've got to be honest.
It does.
Because before the Clone Wars, the series, the Clone Wars, Mandalorians were like... They came from like a Mad Max sort of world, where everyone was like these tough as nails bounty hunters, and Jango Fett and Boba Fett were Mandalorians. And that's the sort of quality we're working on. Maybe not how it actually ends up for Boba Fett, but yeah. Then they changed it in Clone Wars
to a more militaristic, soldierish kind of.
Not even that. It's like a sort of like sci-fi utopia,
right?
But with people that kind of want to turn it back into war world.
Okay. Yes.
That's like your Pre-Vizslas, your Death Watch, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maul eventually took over there.
And in the end. Sorry, when we get to this, and this is getting a bit spoilery, Mandalore's kind of a defeated place, but the Mandalorians are dispersed, but hiding in little cells almost, right? That's kind of how it is. So it's, yeah, so we get to this. Okay, I think we're going to say spoilers from this point on, but this is a great show. If you haven't seen... No, we will have things to spoil plot, but... Honestly, it's such a good show. It's really hard to spoil anyone's enjoyment, I think. It's kind of nice to get some of the reveals, though. I mean, the biggest reveal everyone knows because of all the memes, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, there's other stuff in there. Okay, let's get into this. So, episode 1 was called The Mandalorian. written by Jon Favreau. Were they all written by Jon Favreau? No, they weren't.
There are a few. Well, one got like a different writer. So.
Right, this starts with a pretty badass scene where he's got this like tracking device, and there's a bar, a seedy bar, a den of scum and villainy kind of thing, and they're kind of these bully boys are pushing around this guy, and the Mandalorian walks in, and they try and push him around, and he kind of takes them out in a very It's got a lot of feels of both samurai and spaghetti westerns. This whole thing, hasn't it? And if you think back on the first really famous spaghetti western, which is probably A Fistful of Dollars, Clint Eastwood getting intimidated by the town toughs when they start shooting his donkey. It feels a bit like this. They're kind of going on about, you spilt my drink and all that kind of stuff. So we get this. He's basically tracking down a bounty, and we get some stuff that's real nice callbacks. Well, it depends if you think callbacks to this is nice. To the holiday special, don't we?
Yeah.
We see he's
like
got
a few different levels of.
One guy says, "I want to get home to celebrate lifetime with my family." We see his rifle that was first, I think, shown in that cartoon with Boba Fett in the holiday special. And there's an attack by a beast that I think is really similar looking to the one that attacked Boba Fett in the holiday special, but I'm not into 100% on that.
No.
So we get all of these callbacks, and there's some. It's a fairly adult series, We're seeing things getting killed and all sorts.
The guy gets cut in half by like an aperture door.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it's not graphic. I guess it just about is PG-13. I would imagine, just about. But we get all sorts going on. We also then see him contact someone from the Empire, and we get this quite visceral moment where we first see stormtroopers again. It's quite jarring, isn't it? I thought
it's kind of weird because they kind of present them as a threat, like a really hefty threat. But the Mandalorian's not intimidating whatsoever. Interestingly, they call him Mando in this series, don't they? Mando, short for Mandalorian, which actually made me think, and I think I'm just being super nerdy about spaghetti westerns, because for a few dollars more, the man with no name gets named. They actually say he gave his name. His name's Manco. And it made me think of that. When they started calling him Mando, it really made me think of that quickly. But, that's me. Well, Mando's been like an impromptu name for Mandalorians for quite a while.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We also get Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed turn up. He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good. He's still got the charisma. So.
Grief Karga is his name. Grief Karga. And we find out right in one of the very final episodes, he's an magistrate, which was kind of a shock. But what he is like an agent for the guild. He farms out contracts to various bounty hunters, and it seems that the Mandalorian is one of their top ones, and he's really kind of keen on him. But the Mandalorian's after work, and he hasn't got any. But he says, well, maybe this will work. We got something that's off the radar kind of thing. And there's no sort of, what do they call it? Tracker beacon thing. Or he's got a tracker, but there's some other, they call it, what do they call it?
They call them pucks.
Pucks, right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a bit off kilter. Goes and meets him, and it's Werner Herzog, who's quite magnificent, especially because he's not an actor, but he's a presence, that's for sure.
It's such a weird, creepy delivery of all his lines.
Yeah, well, and
you should look for the package. Beskar belongs back with its people. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, Werner Herzog is great though. And basically, he's got a job for him to go get alive if possible, but dead if otherwise. Some sort of target. And they tell him it's 50 years old. The target's 50 years old, but there isn't much more than that. So he goes off looking for it. He lands on this planet. He meets this little fella who is called... Is it Queel?
Yeah, Queel. We find this out in like the second to last episode, but yeah. He doesn't say anything until then.
Yeah, he's I mean, there were some memes about him because basically, whenever he says things, he says at the end of it, "I have spoken." Like, there's no more discussion. I have spoken. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So that's voiced by Nick Nolte, but there's another actor in there, I imagine. But it's voiced by Nick Nolte. And we also get like an appearance of Taika Waititi, who's the voice of our. Say again?
We kind of get an appearance by him.
It's his voice.
He voices a droid.
Yeah, IG-11, a bounty hunter droid who is totally badass. It has to be said. But he has this kind of funny thing that whenever he's slightly under threat, he starts priming a self-destruction device.
Yeah.
And the Mandalorian keeps telling him to turn it off again. It's kind of funny. And we get this badass scene right at the end where they basically get to this place where the target is. And there's hundreds or lots of henchmen. And the Mandalorian's observing it quietly, but IG-11 sort of wades in and starts demanding they hand over the target and starts getting into a massive fight with everyone. And the Mandalorian comes and the thing shoots him, but he says, "No, I'm a member of the guild." And it's sorry, I didn't realise. I thought I was the only one guild on this. He says, "So did I." They team up, right, and start trying to take over. And there's some badass stuff. Is it an E-Web gun or one of those powerful guns?
It's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a hover-mounted gun sort of thing.
Yeah,
he just sort of like jumps on it, starts spinning it round and firing.
Which reminded me a bit of the movie, the spaghetti western Django, and also The Wild Bunch. There's a bit in The Wild Bunch where someone gets this Mexican Gatling gun, that's been used against them, and then takes out all their enemies. So it's kind of a bit like that. And then when we finally get to see the target, don't we? Which IG-11 has been primed to kill. And he he's just about to, and it's a Baby Yoda, right? There's no getting around this Baby Yoda. And we get one of those cut scenes where it appears that the thing has shot the baby, but in fact it's the bounty hunter shooting the IG-11 through the head. And this all happens on the planet of this little guy, Quill, who is helping the bounty hunter because he wants peace to come back to where he was. There's also a whole scene of him having to tame these weird riding beasts, isn't there?
Yeah. Glurg, I think they're called.
Yeah, and they're from something in Star Wars, aren't they? And I can't remember.
Yeah,
what.
they're from Caravan of Courage.
Caravan of Courage. Nice. So, man, they love their Star Wars, the guys that wrote this. And basically, he's got Baby Yoda. And we get this final shot, don't we? And, how they kept that hidden, I don't know. I did not know this was coming, did you?
No.
It was a complete... And we didn't see this right immediately coming out. We saw it a week or two after it came out. So it was, no one... And then suddenly there was memes everywhere. So, that's fine. So he takes it back. That's the first episode. Really kick-ass opening episode, I thought.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed it. So no complaints at all about that one. It was kind of good to see. He had all his tricks, his firing the harpoon and flamethrowers and all that.
Everything. Basically everything but a jetpack. So.
A reference later.
Yeah.
Right, episode 2 is called The Child. So essentially, on his way back to the ship, a group of bounty hunters try and sort of take him out, but he takes them out. And when they get to his ship, it's been stripped by Jawas. So there's a whole attack of him trying to take out these Jawas, right? Up their land. What are they called, those land things? I can't remember.
Sandcrawlers.
Sandcrawler. Which is straight from some video. I know this from a video game, and I can't remember.
It's from Indiana Jones, where he's like.
It's a copy of Indiana Jones, but there's also a Star Wars game, a really old one, where you're attacking a Sandcrawler. I'm sure there is. It might have been Jedi Knight. I'm not sure. So anyway, but they kind of sort of they get away, right? And then he goes to Quill again, who says, we're going to have to trade. He goes, why should I trade? It's mine. And basically, they start saying, the egg. And so we find out he has to go and fight basically a giant rhino to get this egg that Jawas love eating. And there's he has this fight. He's not doing well, is he, fighting this rhino thing? But we see the Baby Yoda use the Force to lift up the beast. And And then, bizarrely, the Mandalorian seems to take it out with a small knife. Small fruit knife or something.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But he has got quite injured and his arm has got really beaten up doing this. But he sees the Baby Yoda, the child, is using some sort of power that he doesn't understand, right? So it gives him pause for thought, isn't it? Because the child has helped him, even though he's his prey, as it were. Anyway, the Mandalorian crew work on his ship, fix it all up so it looks way better, and then they leave the planet. Also, that's it. Another good episode, right? Really good.
Yeah.
This one could be interpreted as a bit of filler because it takes quite a bit of him to get through just to get off planet. But no, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a fun little sort of storyline.
Right, so the next one's the sin. So do you want to take this for a bit, or shall I carry on?
Okay, yeah, I can take it.
Go on then.
So the sin it opens with the Mandalorian dropping off the child at the with what's his name, Werner Herzog. Oh, I said Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, and he gets a big package of steel, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets some of this Beskar steel, which is like sacred to Mandalorians. He takes it back to this enclave of other Mandalorians, which has like a whole small society living in the sewers.
Which feels like it's in the same town as where he's seeing the Empire guy.
It is.
Yeah, it's so weird, this. But they're in the sewers, right?
Yeah. So he goes back with all this Beskar steel, and he gets. We didn't mention it in the first episode, but there is like an armorer character.
Oh yeah, he gets like a shoulder plate because they give him one piece of the Beskar steel just to take on the job, don't they?
Yeah.
I think, and then he gets a shoulder piece made, doesn't he? What's it called?
He gets a single pauldron made.
Pauldron, that's it.
And then he later gets a whole suit made out of it because there was just that much.
Yeah.
And also, this retcons the guy with the ice cream machine in Cloud City.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
It does. That's the container that holds the Beskar steel, isn't it?
So yeah, they there's also a little bit of a scuffle between the main Mandalorian and the other Mandalorians over accepting Imperial Beskar.
Yes, they're not happy, are they? But the armourer sort of sorts it out, tells them what's what. She doesn't seem to be just an armourer. She seems like a spiritual head as well, doesn't she? She's like almost like the priest as well.
Like, as he says, his weapons are his religion.
Yes, wearing his helmet is part of his religion, and his weapons and his armor is his religion, and his weapons are his religion. And I have to mention his rifle is amazing. It completely disintegrates people. When he uses it,
it's disintegration ray. So
yeah, so he gets another job from Grief. But then he decides not to, and he goes back to the client base, doesn't he? And starts taking out stormtroopers. He feels bad about the child. When he hands over the child, we see the child wheeled off by this obvious mad scientist type. So that's not good, is it?
The mad scientist seems a bit less crazy than Werner Herzog.
Yeah, Werner Herzog's the scary one of the two.
Yeah.
And in fact, when he gets into the lab, the guy goes. The first thing the guy says is, "Please don't hurt it," which I think saves his life because the Mandalorian realises he's not trying to hurt the kid. He's kind of, I don't know what, but they've got the kid under sedation or something, and they're doing tests on it. So he rescues the child. And there's a big badass thing, but as he's leaving the town, all the other bounty hunters have a bounty on him, don't they? Grief's
There's a pretty cool shot of the entire bar, and all the pucks start like beeping.
Yeah, so they're all after the Mandalorian and the kid, and he's kind of trying to outshoot them, but he's really got no hope, has he? But then all the other Mandalorians wade in, and they've got jetpacks and all sorts. And
they've got jetpacks. They've got these big chain gun looking things. So. At the end of the episode, after Mando has started to fly away, one of them flies past his ship and gives him a quick salute, and he's like, I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah, the line out of Independence Day, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's so badass, this one. Really. Yeah. I mean, each episode seems to build and get better than the last one up to this point, and it's really cool. So the next one's interesting one because it's written by Jon Favreau, but it's directed by all people of Bryce Dallas Howard. Quite an unusual. Yeah. You wouldn't know she was involved in this world at all, but okay. Her dad's a director. Ron Howard's a director, so she's got some skin in the game in direction terms, I guess. This one's essentially Seven Samurai, the two samurai, right? He meets a shock trooper, Cara Dune, who thinks he might be hunting her. So they have a massive fight, which is only stopped when they've got a gun to each other's head and they can hear soup being slurped, and they look round and Baby Yoda's drinking soup, watching them.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Cara Dune, great addition. Cara Dune's really good. It's what's her name? Gina Carano, isn't it?
Yeah,
she's really good in this. But while they're he's preparing to leave because there's not room for because he's looking for somewhere to hide, isn't he? So he goes to this planet where there's not much. While he's preparing to leave because he doesn't want to step on her turf, as it were, these two fishermen. These two villagers sort of ask if they've got any.
Not even like fishermen; they're like fishing krill out of puddles.
Yeah, krill out of puddles. Also we see their village get raided right at the beginning, which is very Seven Samurai again, isn't it? It's very Seven Samurai. The whole thing looks like the Seven Samurai for sure.
Just everything about this series is just samurai films, really. Yeah,
the musical cues are very Japanese as well as spaghetti western. There's a big hodgepodge. In many respects, it's the same. It feels like much the same space as Firefly to me. It's got that kind of feel. Though I love Firefly, I think this might be better. What to say? Anyway, we get basically the villagers are sort of asking if they'll work for him, and he says, "No, I don't work for anyone." But then they mention we got to go back to the middle of nowhere, and he's kind of interested then. And he says, "Well," and he goes and asks Cara Dune if she wants to help, and they both go back. And then they say, well, two of us cannot take on these people. And they find out also they've got an ATST.
An ATST. One of the two-legged walkers.
Yeah. So that's really tough. And the villagers sort of say, well, you have got more than two people because you've got us. So they start training them. So it's basically contracted Seven Samurai. And what they got to do is one of them is kind of helping fight the bad guys, and the other one's kind of trying to get the ATST to a certain trap, isn't it?
Yeah. Basically, they got a pitfall that they've hidden under one of the puddles. So the minute it steps in the puddle, it's just going to drop far enough that they can kind of just hop on it. So
and grenade it or whatever. So essentially, there's a big fight. So that's pretty cool. So peace is restored. The Mandalorian's planning to leave the child there, isn't he, and be on his way because it seems at peace there. But then another bounty hunter rocks up and tries to sort of take him out. And I think Cara Dune kills him.
Cara Dune shoots him in the back of the head. And it's another fake out where you think the kid's been shot.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The Mandalorian realises they're not safe there, so he leaves with the kid. This one was a bit weaker than the other three for me. Having said that, I've watched them all twice now, and the second time I really still like this one quite a lot. I just felt some of the action scenes could have been a little better, and maybe it was a bit rushed even. What do you think?
It was a lot of like hiding cover, and just staying there because you can't really duck and weave with an ATST. So.
They were just trying to tempt it out, wasn't they? That's basically it. Okay, yeah, but I mean, it was still solid. Okay, so number 5, written and directed by David Filoni, so he kind of takes the reins at this point.
Dave Filoni is the guy who's behind most of the animated stuff.
Clone
Wars, Rebels, that's him.
Yeah, actually, I did have a Rebels feel. Now you've said it. And they're really going back to old school Star Wars at this point. It starts with a dogfight, doesn't it? It starts with a dogfight. Mandalorian's being pursued by another thing who actually uses a Mandalorian line on him. He says, what's he say? I can take you in hot or I can take you in cold.
Yeah.
And the Mandalorian pulls a trick on him and blows him up and said, "That's my line."
Yeah.
So it's a very one-liner, action-y kind of thing. And he manages to get his damaged ship to Mos Eisley. So we're in Mos Eisley.
He even flies past the like ridge that Obi-Wan says a hive of scabbard villainy on. So yeah,
yes,
there's so many callbacks in this one.
Yeah, so he lands in the dock. And he immediately starts shooting at the little robot droids. One thing we haven't mentioned is he hates droids, doesn't he? He hates droids. I mean, he works with the
he's
IT.
Clone Wars survivor. So
is he really? I'm never quite sure. If that's
they show the battle droids and several of the gunships that are on the Confederacy's side. So
yeah, but. If you think about it, he must be much older. This must have been years and years ago. So what's anyway?
Remember, it's only 19 years between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope, and then it's only like a year between New Hope and Sith.
Yeah, but there is something.
That's passably like 30, and you're still a child in the Clone Wars.
I guess. So. There is a one later where it suggests he's a lot older than we might think he is, though. But anyway, we'll worry about that.
And the Clone Wars went on for like 5 years, so...
That's true. I like this Mos Eisley stuff. Basically, he meets up with another guy who's aspiring to join the guild, who says they're trying to track this elite assassin, who's the lady that plays the cavalry.
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's really good. They go together, and the bounty hunter says, "Yeah, I'll have." I think Mando just wants it for the money, right? To pay for it. He doesn't care about the credit.
He wants to pay for his repairs and get lost. So.
Yeah, so they work together. They catch up, but then the woman, their target, says to the other guy, "Well, the Mandalorian's also being hunted by the guild. If you take him in, you'll be a hero." Yeah. So he kind of takes her out there, but it doesn't work out for him. So.
Well, no, he shoots her and says, like, "I'll sort it out." So
yeah, it doesn't work out though, does it? There's some cool stuff where they're chasing her down. She's sniping from a high place, and they have to use flares to distract her.
Yeah, they drive through the dark and then shoot flares up into the air.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this one. Now we do get one bit. Someone we don't know approaches the body, right?
It's a weird scene. It's like not post. It's immediately pre-credits, and they just show him walk up to the body, and that's it. So
yeah, and I still haven't watched it all twice. I still haven't worked out who that is. I assume it's the big bad at the end of episode 8.
It's gotta be.
I really don't know. So, do you want to take this one, Chapter 6?
Okay, Chapter 6. I gotta be honest, this was my least favourite of the lot. It was still pretty good, but it was clearly weaker and clearly much more fillery than any of the others.
It had quite a lot of twists and turns, and it probably took one or two too many, I think is the issue.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's a mission film, isn't it? Men on a mission film, basically. A rescue.
Yeah.
So he has to group up... he has to work with these other guys who are right dicks, basically.
Yeah.
Though it's good to see.
He knows a few of them. So.
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. It's like an old guy saying, "Yeah, we used to work together." It's like, how old is this guy if he used to work with that old guy?
Well, no, he doesn't. Like, you could be younger than someone and work with them.
That's true. That is true. Right. So there's like this woman who appears to have been his lover, the Mandalorian's lover.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, we should have mentioned in the previous one. There's a widow that really likes him, and Cara Dune actually says, "Well, you could take the mask off, live a happy life with a widow who's in love with you."
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? But he doesn't do that. So there is that. And at one point, they even suggest, why don't we take his helmet off and have a look at him? Maybe he's a Gungan, and they start taking the mickey out of Gungans. It's kind of an interesting thing. Gungans seem to be the joke.
There's a lot of like meta Star Wars jokes. Like there's a bit where Bill Burr's in this one, and they say that like, he used to be an Imperial sharpshooter, and then Mando just goes, "Yeah, that doesn't mean much." He just goes, "I'm not a stormtrooper."
And then a stormtrooper. Yeah, it's funny. So he's got this ex-love interest. Clancy Brown's this like one of the guys that look like a demon.
Devonarian, something like that.
Devaronian.
Yeah, Devaronian.
So it's good to see Clancy Brown. He's looking good here. He's pretty old, but he's looking good in this. He's made up. He's all red as well. And they have to rescue this guy, the brother of the woman. And they also find the kid, and they say, "What is this, a pet?" And he says, "Yeah, something like that." He doesn't let on, does he?
Nah.
And there's a few scenes where it looks like it's going to turn really nasty, but something distracts them all. So that kind of works out.
And also, Richard Ayoade's in this as a robot.
Yeah, they've got like a pilot robot, right? It could do all these fancy moves, so to penetrate defenses. They get on this ship, which is meant to be full of droids. There's a prison ship, so they're taking out droids left, right, and centre. Mandalorian's taking them out like a badass. By the other guys just watch because they don't really care, to get involved. But they do find a human being on there, and there seems to be a weird thing when they say, "No, I thought you said there was only droids," and in the end, the woman just throws a knife at him and kills him. Even though he's got a tracking device for the New Republic, right?
Yeah, get this. That guy was played by the guy who voices Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh, a little tribute. It's a little guest spot for him then. Right.
Yeah, Matt Lanter.
Okay, I didn't know that. But he set off the alarm with this little device, which Mandalorian is looking at, and which means they got like 12 minutes or something before the New Republic turn up. So they've got to go rescue this guy. Then they start trying to take out the Mandalorian, don't they? They kind of imprison him, but he gets out. He has a fight with Berg, which I thought ended in Berg's head being crushed. But we'd later on see him okay in a cell. So no one really
It's kind of funny. He starts like picking them off one by one in like... He's like turning off the lights and like grabbing them, chucking them in the cells, and then turning the lights back on. Yeah.
I like one bit he used the flamethrower on Berg, the demon guy, right in his face. And when the flamethrower stops, he's just standing there smoking but laughing. Like he must come from a heat planet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's funny. Anyway, he puts the rest of the crew in cells, and he delivers. He does his job. He delivers the guy they're supposed to be rescuing back. And they say, okay, and they pay him and he flies off. But then at the last minute, he's left the tracking device with them, which means X-Wings turn up and start shooting the crap out of them.
Well, it shows up and then they're like, oh man, they were preparing like a fighter ship to come out because they were planning on double crossing the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And so they're like, guess we got to blow it up. And just blow it up. And those are all directors of the episodes.
That is really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. I like the end. I like this one, but it was a bit longer than... It was about 45 minutes, I think. It's a bit longer than usual.
Yeah, and it was very much filler.
Well, there was a lot of twists and turns, but I kind of still liked it. But it was probably the weakest one, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then 7 and 8, they kind of go together, don't they, 7 and 8? I mean, 7 ends with a cliffhanger, which leads straight into 8. 7 is the reckoning, and 8 is redemption. Essentially... Mandalorian gets approached by Grief. Grief sent him a message saying, look, I want to end all this. It's bad for business. Bring the child. We'll use it as bait to get the Imperials, the imps, as they call them, kill him, and then this will all be over. Now, the Mandalorian's clever enough to know that's a trap. So he goes and gets Cara Dune again and Quill. And he finds Quill has got rebuilt the IG-11. And he does not like this, but IG-11 acts as a nursemaid, and it kind of works really well. And I was kind of peeved that IG-11 didn't exist to the, didn't make it to the end of episode 8. Actually, I really wanted that to be a running character because I really like the IG-11. But never mind. So so this little troop, go off to the planet where the imps are, but they're talking around a campfire and they get attacked by these big flying things, don't they?
Yeah, they're attacked by Minox.
Minox from Empire Strikes Back, right?
Yeah.
Um,
There's those weird things that are like sucking on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. So some of Grief's people get taken out. Grief gets really badly injured, and it looks like he's not going to make it. But then the kid does his thing and false heals him, doesn't he? Which really has a profound effect on Grief, who reveals, okay, this was going to be a double cross. I was going to sell you in, but I've seen what this kid.
Well, first off, he shoots the bounty hunters he brought along.
Yeah.
To take the Manda.
Yeah, and he explains that he was going to double cross him, but now he's on his side. And then it turns into like a Mexican standoff, and we see this complete badass called Moff Gideon. Who's really cool. Who flies in with a TIE fighter and does stuff I've never seen a TIE fighter do. Its wings go flat and it lands and all sorts. I didn't know TIE fighters could even do that.
I think they may have been able to do that in the old Ralph McQuarrie art, but I'm not 100% sure.
So the troop get sort of basically they're stuck in a little room with all the Imperials outside. They're setting up an E-web and all sorts. And the chap rather kindly says, I'll give you till nightfall to decide, even though he's got them pinned down and they've got no hope.
Yeah.
Which gives them a bit of time to figure stuff out. In the meantime, they haven't actually got the child with them. He's been looked after by Quill, who's sort of taken him somewhere, but the Mandalorian says, take him back to the ship and lock it down. His ship's apparently impregnable once it's locked down. So he has to ride this little thing back, with the baby or the child. But the transmission gets intercepted by guys on speeder bikes, don't they? And
which are faster than the glow things.
Way faster. So the episode ends with Gideon arriving, saying he wants the child. Mandalorian realises they haven't got the child, otherwise they'd all be dead already. So, and then we see the scout troopers track down Quill. Well, we just see him apparently dead on the floor, and the child on the floor in a bag, and the speeder bike guy just picks him up and drives off, and it ends. So it's quite the cliffhanger.
It's a very dramatic, strong ending, and it's quite jarring that it kind of cuts to a comedy routine.
Well,
the next scene is a comedy routine.
Yeah, they're trolling the viewers. Now, it has to be said, episode 7 came out just before Christmas. Episode 8 came out just after Christmas. So there was I think it was 9 days between episode 7 and episode 8, which must have been... We didn't watch it that way, so it didn't bother us, I don't think. So it was kind of interesting, right? There's it's as you say, it starts with a comedy routine of these two scout troopers just shooting the breeze and saying Moff Gideon kills guys if they interrupt him. And stuff
they're trying to call it in. It's Moff Gideon just shot a bunch of his own people, so we're just gonna feel it out here for now. they're just sat there waiting, and they have a nap for a bit. And it's hey, how's that? Figuring out what we're doing going on. It's Moff Gideon just took apart the bar that all our guys were in, so we're just waiting until they come out now. Okay.
And they keep punching the bag the child's in, don't they, when it makes a noise. It's this isn't good.
Yeah.
And then they're bored, so they start shooting at a bit of metal on the ground, and they're both missing. Yeah. That's kind of funny. And then IG-11 turns up.
If you've ever seen Red versus Blue, it's very much in that tone.
Yeah, there was definitely a touch of that. It was a touch of that. It was also made me think of it was almost felt like a sketch from, Robot Chicken, when they do Star Wars. It felt like that. Anyway, IG-11 turns up and says, you need to give me the baby, and they're saying, "What are you a hunter?" He goes, "No, I'm a nurse droid," and they both laugh at it. Anyway, they die.
He just grabs one and slowly starts caving his head in on the speeder bike.
He's good. So. And he gets on a speeder bike and starts taking the child back, but then he gets the call about the Mandalorian and that being trapped. IG-11 just rocks into town and just starts taking out everyone. It's amazing.
And he keeps looking at the baby and being I apologise for this.
And the baby's So, we should have mentioned really the influences of this in Lone Wolf and Cub, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But you kind of see similar scenes in, I think in The Fast and Furious is a scene where Jason Statham has a baby and he's like talking to the baby while he's like shooting guys through the head and, stuff like that. That's kind of remind me of that. Which is a distraction enough for them, for the Mandalorian and so on, to come out and start fighting. So they're all kind of fighting. They manage to get in the drains, don't they? Though they do find a drain on cover and they get in it. We do see a flamethrower trooper go in with the flamethrower, and the baby use force powers to push back the fire and blow him up. It's kind of cool. But the baby gets tired, doesn't it, when it does this kind of thing? Gets exhausted. Anyway, they get in the sewers. Yeah. They hook up with the armourer, don't they? Who gives him all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, well, they find the armourer and a pile of
Mandalorian
helmets that she's melting down.
There is also one scene where the Mandalorian's badly injured, and he tells the others to go because he's not going to make it. But the IG-11 insists that he stay with him, and he gives the baby to Cara Dune, who's not happy about it because she doesn't know what to do with kids, but she takes it anyway. The IG-11 says, "I can only treat you if I take off your helmet." He goes, "No living thing can see my face." And he goes, "I'm not a living thing." So we actually see his face, don't we? And he gets the Bacta spray.
Yeah, and it's just kind of Pedro Pascal. So I thought they'd do something with it, but no, it's just Pedro Pascal.
It's just him. And he gets the Bacta spray, which starts him healing. So he's still weak, but he's slowly getting... As the episode goes on, he gets back to full strength. Meanwhile, they see the armourer, who gives him a jetpack, among other things.
Yeah.
And we also... and then they go on. He asked the armourer to come with him, and she won't come. Again! I would have loved to have seen her go with him. However,
she probably will.
She doesn't. So. She doesn't die, does she? That's the main thing.
No. There's a bit where stormtroopers come in and she destroys them to the point of just chucking one in her forge.
She just touches one in the forge, and she's only using hand-to-hand weapons. She's not got any blaster or anything.
She's only using a hammer and tongs.
Hammer and tongs to take out. What was it, 5 stormtroopers? And she just takes them out, and we're just looking at them. Meanwhile, they find their way out the sewers, which is in a lava stream, and we get this. It looks like an R2, but it's got legs and arms. Who's like the boatman?
Yeah, it's like a Frankendroid sort of thing.
Yeah, he's a boatman who takes them down this thing, but it starts disobeying him. So is it Cara Dune just blows its head off, or Mandalorian just blows his head off?
Yeah, Cara blows its head off because it's just rowing them towards stormtroopers.
Yeah, so it's Cara, Grief, IG-11 and Mandalorian.
IG-11
and the baby, right?
We've learned his name at this point, so we can call him Din Djarin.
Yeah, Din Djarin. He has special powers on his helmet, so he can see through things. And he sees there's a whole troop of stormtroopers waiting outside, and he says, "We're not going to make it." And the IG-11 says, "Well, if I get compromised, I self-destruct." So it volunteers to go on, which doesn't feel quite right, because this IG-11 is a total badass. I've got no doubt it could just run out into the middle of them and take them all out. But they don't do that, do they? He wades forward.
I quite like the bit where the IG-11 turns to him and goes, "Is the child safe in your care?" Just to fully secure its whatever programming it has. It's like, is the child safe? Yes. Okay. I'm going to sort this out.
Yeah, the man who doesn't want him to go.
He walks out, and as he's melting down, he goes I got to self-destruct, and just kills all the stormtroopers waiting around the opening to this underground river thing.
So the rest of them survive. Yeah. This is kind of interesting because the Mandalorian really wants IG-11 to stay with him, which is a complete switch around, isn't it, from how he's been with other droids. Anyway, they get out, but then they get attacked by a TIE fighter flown by Moff Gideon. And Mandalorian, a totally badass moment, uses his jetpack to basically attach to the TIE and put bombs on it, limpet bombs, grenades. And let go, which takes out the TIE fighter. And I think Grief actually says, "Not bad, man."
Yeah.
So they So he's crashed. So you think that's that, and then we see him go off with the child. And
They
Cara
all kind of agree to do different things. They in the conversation with the armorer lady, she says like, yeah, there used to be this race of sorcerers, and you need to find them so that you can give the kid to them. Yeah, because that's where the kid belongs.
You go, you're his father until you do, right? And he says, so I've got to find a planet of enemy sorcerers. He says, yep. And I say, okay. He also gets his gets on his shoulder his own crest, doesn't he? As part of this.
Yeah, the Mudhorn. Yeah.
He says, you are now a
clan of two.
Clan of two. Clan of two would be an awesome subtitle for the season 2, actually. Clan of two. So again, we're probably sticking with Lone Wolf and Cub here, right? We really are.
Yeah.
So they go off. We also then see Cara Dune. Grief might be recruiting Cara Dune to be a bounty hunter. There's that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And also we see that he builds a little mound of rocks for Quill, doesn't he? He's obviously found him dead in the desert. So that character is dead. And then they fly off. But we also see Moff Gideon cut his way out of the TIE fighter with a special sword, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, with the dark saber, which is a big thing to the Mandalorians. So now people are out throwing out theories online about, well, maybe this guy has a lot of Beskar. He has the Mandalorian ancestral weapon. Does this guy want to be a Mandalorian?
Oh, does it? Well, wasn't he the guy that led the destruction of Mandalorian? He basically led the army that destroyed what was the civilization of Mandalore, right?
Yeah, but on the flip side, he also wanted the Yoda baby, which they state in one episode might be a clone or genetically works out. Well, they say, there's a bit where Quill looks at it and goes like, yeah, this has got like all sorts of imperfections. This looks like gene farmed sort of thing.
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
It's either a clone or genetically modified.
Whoa.
And also,
so it could be Yoda. It could be Yoda.
Okay, weirdly, at this point in time, 50 years old is roughly how old Anakin would be. So, yeah.
That's
and
weird.
Anakin, if you read his backstory, is Shmi just kind of walked out of the desert pregnant.
Whoa. Yes, that's right. There might be something going on. It might be the Emperor, right?
Yeah, it's probably the Emperor.
It's probably the Emperor, right? Okay.
Considering Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, dark science and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that turns
unnatural.
Okay. Well, that's it. Mandalorian. Really like this show. Fantastic show. Got no complaints really.
Except that one episode, but
yeah, you found one episode back. Yeah, funny enough, I found the Seventh Samurai one. I really was expecting a lot. I think my expectation ruined it for me. Not ruined, but diminished it for me. Do you know what I mean? But second watch, I enjoyed a lot more. So the expectation was gone. So I think it was a bit of that.
Yeah.
But man, very solid series. All right, so maybe 1 week episode for you, but lots of very strong ones, right? Yeah, so great show. I haven't really got much more to say other than watch it if you can. That's it. I will be we've watched it twice, haven't we? And I'm going to watch it again soon. I think I really like this. I think whenever I've got a spare 4 odd hours, I'm going to watch The Mandalorian. There's worse ways to spend your life, right?
Yeah.
All right then. Shall we wind out there then?
Okay.
All right. So bye from me.
Bye.
We like to hear from our listeners at The Good, The Bad and The Odd, so if you have any thoughts on this week's topic or anything else movie or TV related, drop us a line at info@thegoodthebadandtheodd.com. Written or MP3 attached, we like both. We're available on Stitcher, iTunes and as an RSS feed. Just go to www.thegoodthebadandtheodd.com for links to these. Also, Feel free to come chat with us by joining our Facebook group on www.facebook.com/groups/the good, the bad and the odd, all as one word. Thanks for listening, and until next time on the good, the bad and the odd.